Hi, McCartney fans, and welcome to episode 112 of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. We are a Paul McCartney talk show mainly dealing with the solo career of Paul McCartney. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Tom Hunyadi, and you may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles videocast, where we talk all things solo Beatles. And I am joined by my partner in crime, my backwards traveler, my buddy, my good friend, Andy Nichols. Andy, what's going on?
I'm just lying around. As
Very good.
Denny
Very good.
Denny sings. Good to see you,
Right.
Tom, and thanks for hosting the show tonight. And tonight we have two guests here on Two Legs, Vinnie and Steve, two very good friends of mine who attended the 1992 Up Close show taping at the Ed Sullivan Theatre when Paul was promoting off the ground, and they have some great stories about that show. The venue, hearing about it, going to the concert, seeing McCartney in the flesh in such a small environment. And they are just two original, hardcore Beatle fans who have been around for a long, long time, and two dear friends of mine. And we thought it would be a great opportunity to have them on and hear their side of the show. So welcome, Steve, and welcome, Vinnie.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Glad you guys are here to share this.
First time, long time.
So when this episode is posted, it'll be pretty much 18 years and a day since the events that
So 28 years in a day.
28 years.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Yes, 28 years. Wow. Jeez. 28 years in a day since you guys got to be a part of this excellent event. So between the two of you, I mean, who was the first one to find out about the show, and how did we get the tickets?
Well, there were no tickets sold to the show. You had to be invited, from what I remember.
Okay.
And we heard about it on the radio. And my neighbor is a MTV cameraman.
Oh.
And he said to me, "You and Steve want to come into the city, and I can probably sneak you in."
Wow.
Yeah. And we're like, yeah. I called Steve. He's like, "I'm in."
Yeah.
And he said, he gave us some instructions what to do. He said, go to the side door. I think it's 52nd Street.
Okay. The Ed Sullivan Theatre, right?
Yeah. 52nd
Yeah.
Street. And he goes, just stand by the side door, and I'll come out and greet you, and just act, casual. And that's what he did. And he came out and he put these two like
credentials,
said crew on it,
okay,
and put it around our neck, and says, just give me a little more time. And then, Steve, you could tell the story about what happened while we were waiting to go in.
As Vinnie said, the information on the show was limited. To give you a little context, as you said, we've been around a while, Tom and Andy. Second generation Beatle fan. I guess I was 10 months old when they were on the Ed Sullivan show the first time. So being a second generation Beatle fan, you had a lot of desire to see Paul McCartney, because by the time I was old enough to go see him, he had stopped touring in the United States.
Gotcha.
So
That's right.
when you're growing up, late 70s, early 80s, when I really started getting into the Beatles, it felt like he was never going to tour. So I'm in high school in the late 70s, early 80s. He's not even talking about touring the United States. So as Vinnie said, this kind of came out of nowhere, right, Vin? You got like a week's notice?
Yeah, he said McCartney is doing this MTV thing, and you guys want to take a ride in? And it was as simple as that. We just said, yeah. What did we have to lose? We had nothing to lose. And we didn't get in. We didn't get in. But
and
so
this was this.
Me and Steve kind of. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
We could have lost because it ended up having a nor'easter those 2 days. One of the 5 worst nor'easters in the last 30 years.
Wow.
I didn't even know at that time what a nor'easter was. But this was a storm that lasted about 2 or 3 days. So as Vinnie said, what do you have to lose? And to provide that context again, we didn't have a cell phone.
Right.
We couldn't contact his contact.
Right.
We're driving in a nor'easter. They're talking about closing tunnels. We live in northern New Jersey, so we have to go through the Lincoln Tunnel. And, you know, it sounds like a restaurant in Atlantic City that my father goes to. He lives outside Atlantic City. It's an Italian restaurant. You have to know the owner to get a reservation. You go to the side door and you knock 3 times and you get in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
so
this was not a snow nor'easter. This was a rain and wind.
Yeah.
And the highway had no cars on it. We drove right through the Lincoln Tunnel. We were in the city in like 20 minutes.
Oh, cool. So
It actually worked to our benefit, the storm, because we were able to get in so quickly. But, you know, the whole idea, are we at the right door? We're at this door, and as Vinnie said, he wanted me to tell the story. As we're waiting at the door, a limousine pulls up. So we don't even know if we're at the right door. And I see Linda McCartney get out, Robbie McIntosh, Hamish gets out, and then Paul gets out. They're all in the same limo. A couple of security guys come. We're the only ones standing there. They kind of like push us a little to the side, but not too much. And they walk right by us into the door.
We're like,
did you say hi?
Yeah. No, we were dumbstruck. I mean, we were starstruck. And there was a lot of, you know, there was a couple of trailers on the street where the cameramen and the MTV people were coming in and out of. And then all of a sudden, Steve wanted to kill me, but there was a Roy Rogers across the street, and we hadn't eaten dinner. And I go, Steve, I gotta have a. If you know me, then you know I gotta have a Roy Rogers burger.
Right.
And I go, I'll be right back. I gotta get one. And it's like, Vin, what are you doing? We're gonna miss the show. No, I'm gonna get it. I ran out, just came back just in time when he finally said, okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna walk in to the side door, and then you're gonna come. When you come out down the steps, you're gonna come out into the stage area. So you have to understand, there was a stage, and then there was a flat surface, and then the stands for the audience were over onto the side. He goes, and then go right to the stage, stand there, and don't move.
Okay.
So we walk in with other crew members. Nobody says anything to us. Remember that hallway, Steve? That winding down those steps? It was like something out of, like, we're going down dungeon steps. And we walk in.
Remember, this was prior to the renovation for David Letterman using it. This was old
That's right.
Ed Sullivan Theatre.
It was the old Ed Sullivan Theatre, yeah.
So was this the 10th or the 11th?
That's what
I think it was the
11th. Because I thought we went Friday the 11th.
Okay.
But I looked at the set list.
Yeah.
And he did Jingle Bells on the
10th. Right.
And did you see that?
It had to be the 10th.
That was the Thursday show.
Thursday.
Right.
Yeah, because I have the I think it was Thursday the 10th. Like I said, on that crew tag, it has the date of the show.
Okay.
And I looked at it a million times. It was hanging behind my bar. And what happened was, Tom, I moved 2 years ago, and I packed everything, and it's piled in the back of like 20 boxes.
I know it's back there, Vin.
Yeah, it's definitely back there. And,
I'll come over and I'll dig it out for you.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't move all this shit out. I moved a couple boxes. I did find something that said bar stuff, and it wasn't in there. I was very disappointed. But it's got to be in another box. There's no way I would ever throw that out.
No.
But so we got pushed. We went over to and we stood in one place for 2 hours.
For the whole
I'm
show.
not kidding you.
This was before. Okay, inside you stood for 2 hours, or was it outside? Outside. Well,
outside was about an hour.
Okay. All right.
By the time he said, okay, it's time to go in, follow me, and go to the stage. And there was other people standing there. Everybody just stood there straight like this, didn't talk to anybody. We just stood there by the stage. And at that time, we were pretty close, right, Steve? We were probably only about 3 people in front of us.
Right.
And
I'm looking at the 3 microphones, and I'm going to stand right at the center microphone, because that's where McCartney's going to go. We had our choice of which microphone to stand in front of. And I'm sitting there for 2 hours going, I can't believe I'm in this theater and I can stand anywhere I want within 3 feet of the stage.
Wow.
Which wasn't going to be meant to be, which I'll tell you about later.
And then what happened was people started filling in behind us, and we're going, Steve, this is going to happen. We're not getting thrown out of here. Hi, honey. My wife just walked in. I go, we're not going to get thrown out. And people started piling in behind us. And I go, this is going to happen. And we stood in one spot for 2 hours without a drink. Can you imagine? And then.
And Andy and Tom, once again, there wasn't a lot of news surrounding this show.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was curious about. So, Vinnie, you pretty much just found out about this through your contact from MTV then, correct?
I think I heard it. I'm pretty sure I heard it on the radio because they were giving tickets away on the radio.
Okay.
Andy had sent me a link to the show, which I watched. I had my wife tape it when I was at the show. And Andy sent me a link of the show, and I was rewatching it this afternoon. They what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Where we got our news from at this time, we're in northern New Jersey, so
I remember.
There's no internet. My main source of news was your buddy Ken Michaels, DHA show. He would do the news every Sunday, and Beatle Fan Magazine.
Right.
And NEW radio here used to have jocks that would always keep you up to things, but by that time, NEW was kind of fading.
So did you know Ken Michaels was there as well?
I did not know he was.
Yeah, he was at both. Apparently, he was at both shows.
Well, I just remember I was going to say the link I was watching it, and in the comments, somebody was saying, "I won tickets to it on K-Rock." Like they were giving tickets away on the radio. You could not buy the ticket, and it was a very exclusive show.
Right.
Talking like nobody was allowed in it. We ended up seeing Sid Bernstein. Remember that, Steve, after the show was over?
Yeah, I remember seeing him, but I don't recall seeing a lot of celebrities that you would normally see at
something like this. So you guys are there now. You guys are waiting for 2 hours, right?
At least
2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what 6, 7 o'clock at night then, or so 8?
Yeah, I think he ended up going on around 8 o'clock.
Okay.
We had gone in, let's say 5, spent an hour outside, 10 minutes at Roy Rogers, and then 2 hours standing in line. And then if I remember this too, just before the show started, they brought in like 10 hot girls and put them in the front row. Nice. And so Steve and I had to back up again.
That's where I lost my place in front of the microphone.
Plus, tell them what happened, Steve.
Plus, some guy said, "I'm 6'3". I'm, at least back then I was.
Right.
And they said, "You're kind of in the camera angle, so we're going to have to move you to the side." So.
He was too tall for where he was standing, and I go, "I'm not moving, buddy. I'm staying right here." Because I was still dead center with McCartney. You could see my bald head in the video. I mean, I'm
gonna check it out. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
I actually took a couple of photographs tonight.
I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could see my head in the thing. How close we were.
You said the bald head. So you're saying you were bald back then too?
I've been bald since I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. So show starts.
We're in awe.
Talk about what's that? You're in awe?
We're in awe.
So this is your first time seeing McCartney as well?
First time for both of you guys, right?
No.
Oh, no.
Steve and I had seen him.
Let me get back to the desire to see Paul McCartney because, from my whole, I'd say 18 to 28, there's absolutely no chance to see a Beatle.
Well, how old were you in 76 for that tour?
I was 12 at that time. So
okay.
I was...
my parents wouldn't let me go till after high school. So my first concert is The Who in 1982 at Shea Stadium.
Oh, wow.
So we have no chance to see a Beatle until we see Ringo in 1989. So that's all. We see a Beatle. I mean, that's a big deal. We didn't have an opportunity. So then he comes to the Garden in 1990. I went to every show. And look, this is before StubHub, where you have the means of paying through the nose, but at least going. So you'd have to stand out. You'd have to go either Ticketmaster, get a bracelet. So you really had to work to get those tickets.
Oh, I remember those days. Absolutely.
You know, Tom.
Yeah.
I saw him 5 times on that tour. He did the Garden 3 nights. I went twice. 3 out of 4 nights at the Garden, and 2 nights at Giant Stage.
This was the Flowers in the Dirt tour then.
Well, 1990.
Yeah.
Steve and I went 3 consecutive nights to the Garden Shop.
But that was your first time seeing him live, so that must have been
live, 1990.
It was phenomenal. But then you're standing in the Ed Sullivan Theatre and you're saying this is next level, because Paul.
This is like intimate show right here.
Yes, and Paul hadn't done that a lot at that point in his career. I mean, other than Early Wings.
And Unplugged too.
Right.
Unplugged a year or 2 before. Other than that, it'd been 20 years since he'd regularly done it. And I know, Andy, you saw him 10 or 15 years later in that type of thing. But I'm sitting there, I can't believe this is going to happen. And like when he said, when he walked out and you asked Tom, you know Paul is such a pro. I mean, he just walked on, put that bass on, and lights out.
Smooth.
And his band was excellent. I mean, Wicks was with him back then. I mean, I remember the song sticking out.
20 Flight Rock, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember Fixing a Hole being absolutely just, I think that was the first Beatles song he played.
Yes,
it
is. Fixing a Hole.
And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, he's playing Fixing a Hole. I don't believe it's happening. Like, we were so Beatled, obsessed.
Well, let's start with the first. He starts with 20 Flight Rock. I mean, what did you think? I mean, you guys obviously knew that song, right?
Well, we knew that song because we knew the
Flowers in the Dirt
story.
tour. So I had seen him do that before, and obviously the historical significance, of it. So we were well aware of the song, and he does it so well.
Right. And then the second track, Get Out of My Way. Now, did he introduce that song, or did they just go right into that?
I'm promoting a new album off the ground.
Yeah. How do you say that, Tom? The difference between seeing him there and seeing him in the first tour, everything was scripted in the first tour. He would say the same thing in between songs. This was not the case. He would introduced almost every song, and I remember saying he's so much more personable. In this,
I remember Steve and I went to see him 3 nights in a row, and he literally did not ad lib at all. He said he did say the same exact thing all 3 nights in a row. Because he hadn't toured in how long, Steve?
13 years.
13 years, and he was just a little. He was kind of awkward in '90. Because I think he didn't know how to act on stage, I don't know. I'm not saying he did not. How am I saying? He just was so, like Steve said, so scripted. Said the same exact thing. Yeah. And then when we get to this thing, he's you could see
probably more comfortable.
Yeah, they were putting makeup on him.
Yeah.
How many people do you think were actually at this show at the Ed Sullivan Theatre? How many did it hold?
That is so small, that theater. I can't tell you.
Maybe a couple 300.
Yeah, and we were in a very small area. We were in a standing room only area, so it's really small.
Right. How was the crowd outside when you guys were waiting outside? Was there a crowd? Did people know what was going to happen inside?
Nope.
Do you recall?
The only crowd we saw was Paul, Linda, Hamish.
That was it. Okay.
And Robbie. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, but maybe there was something going on out front of the Ed Sullivan Theater, but we were on the side street. So I don't know. But again, like if you didn't hear about it on the radio, there was no social media. There was no Paul McCartney website, to go to and see where his next show was, or it was just radio announcement, and maybe if you read it in a magazine or something.
Yeah, the club sandwich probably. If you were a club member,
that's how you'd find out. So let me ask you guys about some of the other songs that you probably heard for the first time that night, because he was promoting Off the Ground, which didn't really come out until February, 2 months later. So now, I mean, half this set list, for the most part,
it's 9 tracks were Off the Ground
from an album that you don't even know. So you're hearing songs that you've never heard before. Now, a lot of that energy could have been, we're seeing McCartney, we love these songs, but, are there any songs, like hearing those songs where you're like, wow, that's a good song, or you were like, I'm just seeing McCartney, these songs don't really matter to me. Like, what was your initial take on hearing brand new songs in the flesh, and so many of them, really, too?
Well, Get Out of My Way was a rocker.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he played that second.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
And it was, they were just rocking, and again, we'd never heard these songs before. And I wasn't standing next to Steve because they moved him to the side. But, like, I thought his new songs were great, and obviously that's a great album.
Steve?
Andy, to answer your question, I have two thoughts on that. Like you said, we hadn't heard any of the songs. So I thought they fit very well as I heard them the first time. Peace in the Neighborhood, I really liked the first time I heard it. And the one that was stunning, and he did it so well, was Big Boys Bickering, which turned out not to be on the album. Right. And when he says the F word, I'm like, I remember being 17, putting Plastic Ono Band on, having no idea that John Lennon's going to say F. Right. Working Class Hero, I'm like, wow, is this when he started saying the F word, and, Robbie really played a good guitar in that song, and I'm like, that's a great song. Mm-hmm. But it didn't appear, and back then I went to my collector's CD shop and said, listen, I'm looking for this song if it ever came out, and it ended up coming, I don't know if it was an import or a B-side, but
B-side first.
Okay, I remember being very excited to get that. And it's interesting, I thought the songs worked very well live, and then when I got the album, I was a little disappointed in the sound of it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the experience of being there.
Right.
And Off the Ground, I didn't think he did that well when we saw him. And that's relative when you're talking Paul. I'm saying relative to his other songs.
Sure.
But that turned out to be my favorite track on the album. So you just never
Great track. I like that's one of my standouts is Off the Ground, the title track. Yeah, I love it.
I mean, I love that song. But when I think back of seeing the songs live, Peace in the Neighborhood, Big Boys Bickering, I thought those were the standouts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because you heard these songs in a live context, and in a live context they just sound probably so new and
energized.
Energized. Right. When you get a stereo recording to put a CD on, it probably sounded very sterile, and that's probably where these songs didn't have the same energy that you saw them live, with all that natural energy that a live performance lends itself to.
Right, Andy. I think you hit it right on the head.
I'm a big when I go to a show, I like to know the songs, that he's playing, and I didn't know nobody had heard these songs.
Right, and, but did you guys know he was Did you guys know he was putting out a new album before this?
Yes, yeah, we definitely knew that because the cameraman had told us he's doing a promotion for his new album.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then there was another thing was it was the first time he ever played Penny Lane live, and first time he ever played Fixing a Hole live.
Yeah, so that's the next. So the next song then would be Fixing a Hole. Then you got Looking for Changes, and then you got Penny Lane. And I tell you, when I got to see him in '93 in Michigan, when I lived in Michigan, Penny Lane was one of the highlights for me. And so I mean, you guys had to have been beside yourself when he started that.
Yeah, I mean it's surreal.
Right.
I mean, we were so obsessed with the Beatles, like when we got hit in the late '70s, that to be standing 10 feet away from this guy and watching him perform for you, it was surreal. We couldn't believe it was happening. Like, this is, now that I'm older now, I'm 58, but at that time I was 30 years old. I was like, this is the most unbelievable thing. I can't even believe this is happening. And to be honest with you, up until he actually came out and started playing, I still thought we were going to get pulled out of there. Like, what are you guys? Who are you guys? Yank us out by the shirt. How'd you get in here? What, I really did until he actually started playing. And I remember turning to Steve as people were piling in behind us. We were kind of getting lost now.
Right.
Because, we were like down deep by the stage. I go, this is this is going to happen, Steve. Like
Right.
this, we're not getting thrown out of here. But like I said, I was thinking at that very last minute that somebody was going to pull us by the shirts and pull us out.
Well, you still had your crew badges on too, right?
I did. I had the crew thing. I don't know if Steve took his home, but I took mine home. I just said, I'm keeping this fucking thing.
You're okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, kid.
Did you guys, were you allowed to bring in cameras or anything else like that?
That's a big miss. No
Yeah.
camera. I was thinking about bringing a Beatle album to see if I could get an autograph, because I thought maybe our contact would get us an after show meeting or something. I contemplated bringing an album, but I just said that wouldn't be cool.
I mean, we were part of the crew.
Right. Yeah, you got to be a little professional when you're part of the crew.
Exactly.
Like this, like I said in the beginning, this was such a long shot because this was actually going to happen,
Right.
and it was tremendous. And then he ran off at the end a bunch of Beatle and solo songs.
Right.
Classic.
So getting towards the midpoint, then he does 3 songs from the off the ground sessions. You got Biker Like an Icon, I Owe It All to You, and then Big Boys Bickering. So you guys remember much on those?
I do remember liking Off the Ground. I did. For hearing it for the first time. And that's the beauty of McCartney. I mean, he sucks you in from the first time you hear a song.
Right.
Very few songs grow on you. It's like, you know what? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the guitar work and the melodies to I Owe It All to You.
Yeah.
I think it goes on a little bit too long. That's always my thought on that song.
Right.
I definitely agree with you on that. We did a show, a few shows back, with Joe Mayo talking about Off the Ground, and I think we were pretty much in agreement on that. I Owe It All to You just kind of dragged a little bit.
Right.
Hey, he's plugging a new album, so he's going to play the tracks he wants to play, the ones that he thinks are going to go off.
And like you say, Andy, I wish he had done this for every album. It's great to see him do a track list like that, instead of the same 30 songs we've been seeing most.
Right. There you go. So after he does the 3 songs from Off the Ground, then he goes into Michelle, which again,
Yeah, hearing the Beatles song. Yeah, hearing Michelle. And then Jingle Bells. I didn't really realize. I looked at the set list. He actually played Jingle Bells.
And what's interesting about that, Andy, he's taping a television show. You would think there'd be all these little cuts or we'll do this over. Other than getting makeup 2 or 3 times, they played it like it was a concert. There was no
Well, this was the warm up for the tour.
Right. There was no okay, let's do that again, or they played it straight and
as a live set. Yeah.
Yeah, for something that was being recorded
in one of those makeup breaks.
It was like a concert. Like Steve said, there was a couple makeup fixes, but other than that, he literally just played one song after another.
It's interesting. If you watch the actual final video, though, when it premiered, it's intercut with a lot of interview stuff that they must have done with him prior to the gig, the venue opening up, because you could see he's being interviewed and the stage is behind him. And so that stuff was, when you watch the up close performance, it's a concert, but it doesn't have the same feel that you two probably had when you watched it as just a bona fide live show.
Yeah.
He played straight through except for those makeup breaks, and then he went into the Jingle Bells. So
yeah, I don't even think they took an intermission. Maybe they did during an encore, but it was brief.
Okay.
Right.
Got you. So after Jingle Bells, then he hops back off. He hops back on of Off the Ground and goes Hope of Deliverance, which I believe, Steve, you said you liked that track from get go.
Off the Ground, I did. I think Hope of Deliverance was the first single released. I think that came 2 or 3 weeks after. I remember hearing it on the radio before Christmas.
Okay.
Oh, so that leans up right to this time then, yeah.
It's a great single. It's classic McCartney. It's one of his better singles post 1980.
For sure.
I don't know if you guys ever touched on this in your podcast, but it always seemed like McCartney in the early days of going back to concerts, starting in '90, that he was apprehensive to play his Beatles songs, like thinking nobody really wants to go back in time kind of thing. I know he didn't play a lot of them in 76.
Right.
Only 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were mostly acoustic, right?
Yeah.
Other than
Lady Madonna and
Right.
the Long and Winding
Long
Road.
Winding Road, right.
Right.
So during the show, he would go, and I rewatched some of it today. You might remember he'd go, well, I'm going to take you back to the 60s now. Like, you know, I do have a lot of songs out, but do you want me to go? And then he realized I think later on he realized how much people love those Beatles songs.
Right.
And now his sets are just, you know.
That's all it is.
30 Beatles songs, 10 Wing songs.
Oh, exactly.
Maybe
starting with the Flowers in the Dirt tour, 89-90 tour. I mean, that's when he really started experimenting, you know, bringing out all those tracks again. And I'm sure people were going crazy. You know, I would have loved, you know, I think I was 15 for the 89-90 tour, so my parents wouldn't let me go. So, so, and then now we get to Can't Buy Me Love again. You know, I'm sure that was, you know, really cool to see live as well.
He did a different arrangement of that, if I remember.
Okay. Or was that? Didn't he do I Want to Be Your Man a little differently too?
Yes, kind of in that similar vein, but it's not the standard Can't Buy Me Love. It's
interesting. Okay.
Kind of like did intros like he does in the last few years to You Won't See Me. You know, he kind of in a different direction.
Gotcha.
You know, I liked it, but it was not 1964 Can't Buy Me Love.
No.
Got you.
And interestingly, when you talk about, we didn't get the Peace in the Neighborhood yet. You know?
That's coming next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he played lead guitar in that one, I believe. He switched to a guitar I forgot to use. It's a red and white. I'm not sure what kind of guitar it was, but took over lead guitar duties for a while.
Right. So so after Can't Buy Me Love, he does a couple more tracks from Off the Ground, including Peace in the Neighborhood and the title track Off the Ground.
Did he play lead guitar on Off the Ground too?
Yes. Well, I don't know if he plays lead on Off the Ground. No, I think Robbie does the lead, but he's still Robbie the red and white guitar on.
Oh, okay. But he played lead on Peace.
So Hamish was probably doing bass then during those 2 tracks then probably.
Yes.
Hey guys, how long did that drummer stay?
How good Robbie McIntosh and Hamish were. They were really, really good.
Right.
Yeah, they absolutely were. During that point, Vinny's question was, how long was the drummer? So the drummer that he had at this time was a guy by the name of Blair Cunningham, and Blair was only with him for 1 album and 1 tour.
Right.
The previous drummer that he had used, Chris Whitten, had with him when you guys saw him in '90. He had left and he joined DNXS after his stint with McCartney. So the guy that he was drumming with him for this album, this tour that you guys saw in '92, was only with them for just the 1 tour, just the 1 go around. That was it. And he's a good drummer, you know.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Then we get back to the Beatles with Sgt. Pepper. So I guess that was just the Sgt. Pepper that was right before With a Little Help.
No, that's my question to you guys. Now, is that just did he play Sgt. Pepper's into With a Little Help, or does he just do that Sgt. Pepper? Did he do it in that arrangement that he did in 1990, where he starts it with the main song and ends it with the reprise? Is that how he did it?
I would have to rewatch it. I have no recollection. I remember him playing it, but I think it was just a straight Sgt. Pepper.
Okay. I don't recall what he did with that, to tell you the truth. But
if I had to guess, he probably just started it with the main song and then ended it with that reprise. If you've listened to the live version on Tripping the Live Fantastic,
right.
He probably mimicked that performance because it was what he was used to and the band was used to. But still, I mean, you're getting to hear Paul McCartney play Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah, again, blown away.
Yeah. How could you not be? And then he slows it down next.
Yeah. I mean, this was a highlight for me for the tour. How did he sound with My Love to you guys?
I remember sounding great.
Perfect. I mean, one of his best love songs. And as you said, Tom, how does he sound? I remember standing there through the whole night. You know, you see him in these big venues and you say to yourself, how good do the sound guys make these guys sound? How good does George Martin make you sound?
Right.
Jeff Emmerich. I'm standing 6 feet away from him, he sounded like you would want Paul McCartney to sound. I mean,
Right.
the whole thing, perfect voice, a total pro. You know, it's like him playing at your birthday party. And
So Paul was
he
50.
sounded phenomenal from
Yeah.
start to finish.
Right.
Yeah, Vinny, he
Paul's
was
50.
he was 50 years old when you saw
He
him.
was 50 years old. Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
I mean, he was perfect.
He
Right.
was. Well, you guys have seen the video, right? The concert?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it is.
You always wonder
tremendous.
how much is doctored, how much is
Right.
this, how
Right.
much
Right.
is-
Right.
I saw it with my own eyes. You know,
Right.
it was phenomenal.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. You guys were you guys fans of Sea Moon before you saw him do this live?
Well, I'll go on this one. Me and Steve have always talked about what his fascination was. Paul's
Mhm.
fascination was with that song.
With reggae.
I never cared for it.
Right.
Seymour.
He has played that almost on every tour.
I know.
And I'm at City Field when he's going to play City Field for the first time, I think in 2009, and we're there early tailgating, and we hear him warming up,
Right. Right.
doing the sound check, and he's doing a 10-minute version of Sea Moon. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with that song, with his catalog.
He's fascinated with that song,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm
Wait.
saying. What are you kidding me?
A Sea Moon? Like, how about something about some silly love
He
song?
did it for the
Bro.
73 tour.
Bro, after we're done with this, I'll tell you about that City Field tour concert and how we got tickets for that and how we were like in row 7 for that.
Right. Wow.
But I think that's just like a little. I think Sea Moon is just a song that he feels comfortable with, and it's an easy
Right.
one for the band to do. So he just includes it in his live set. And the 300 of you people there, you know, it was, hey, okay, Sea Moon, you know, he's playing it. Okay, big deal.
I'm glad he started just using it in the sound check.
Sound check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what is he doing with this song? You've got a catalog of songs.
I'm a fan of it. I'm not the biggest reggae fan in the world, but I do appreciate this one. You know, I do enjoy it.
Every freaking set list since like 1976, or come on, 73.
73.
Why don't I want to hear I've had enough, backseat of my
Right.
car.
Oh wow, yeah, of
Getting
course.
Closer. I want
Right.
I want him to play Getting Closer so bad. It's
Right.
one of his best rockers. The end of that song is rocking like anything you've ever heard. And I'm like,
Right.
I got to hear Sea Moon. So many tunes he leaves out.
Right.
Listen, the catalog like that, he could pick out, 30 great songs, and that
Right.
people would still be pissed off that they didn't play the other 30 that they wanted to hear. That's
Right.
just, he's got so much good stuff. How do you
Right.
Where
do
My
it all?
Love.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So back to the Beatles. Then you got Lady Madonna. Watch. Did he
Must
bring
have-
out that? Did he bring out that piano that he uses? That colorful
The
piano.
color one? I don't think he
Yeah.
brought that one
There
out.
was
No, I
not
think
a
they
lot
rolled
of
the grand
change in
piano out.
instruments that you see at a normal McCartney concert. I mean,
Right.
he played a few different guitars, but you weren't seeing, I don't think he had his whole crew there to do that.
Right. So the stage wasn't really big either.
Wasn't, yeah, what,
No.
looked very limited. Very, very, very limited.
So small.
Oh,
Right.
I remember this. The cameraman
Those-
saying, I remember the cameraman, Mark, his name was Mark Whitman. And he said to me, Paul doesn't want to be shot at a certain angle so nobody sees his hanging little, I swear to God, I remember him saying that. What do they call it? Little like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, what?
The little neck flap there.
Neck flap. You know
Or what's the What's it called? What the turkey got?
The gobbler?
Yeah,
The gobbler.
gobbler. Like he didn't want his skin was hanging down and he wasn't wanting to be shot on a side angle. He wanted to be shot front.
Really?
That's Mark
The
told me that.
the
yeah.
cameraman said that?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's
All right, here's what
hilarious.
Paul wants: no side angles. So when he was on his grand piano, he was kind of like on a diagonal kind of thing. So he was kind of not on the side. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where he'd be playing this way and looks, the crowd's that way.
Right.
I don't know if you guys could see me, but
Yeah, I can see.
I can see why he would say that to Mark, because Mark was the cameraman. He was up about 6 feet in some sort of contraption, and he was off to the left. So he was taking the side shots of Paul.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, I would think the producer must have Paul said something to the producer, tell the cameraman. I don't think Paul talked to Mark Whitman.
No, he probably just said, "Look, make sure you guys get me good."
Right.
Yeah. That was just a little side thing, and I just remembered he said.
That's great. That's
I
why
love it. Yeah.
those are the anecdotes that you can only hear if you were there.
Yeah.
And you guys were.
Or in such a small attended show too. I mean, that's kind of the banter that you would hear, I would imagine. You know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we weren't kids. We were 30. I mean, Steve was 29. I mean, we weren't like 20 years old.
Right.
You were
It
seasoned.
was that night.
That was that night.
Normally, we would try to sneak beer in, you know.
Right. There you go. The last two tracks. So he ends with "Come On People," which again was another single from Off the Ground. What were your guys' thoughts on that one?
Nice song, Tom. You know, pure McCartney, but like I owe it all to you. I think it goes a little too long, but he did it well. I thought he did it better live than when I heard the whole production on the album again. I was spoiled, so I saw Paul McCartney from 6 feet away, and then when I got the album, you know, it obviously grew on me after a few plays, but the initial reaction was, I like the raw sound of it better.
You can tell he's trying to go for some big production number on that, big orchestras at the end, you know, get that George Martin effect in there. And, I mean, but it's such an intimate setting. I would have killed to have heard that song in an intimate setting like that. That must have been tremendous.
It's better live than on record.
Right.
But you have to remember, we never heard them before either. We didn't.
Exactly.
We didn't know what was happening, you know.
Right. So then he ends with "Live and Let Die," and I'm sure you had all the explosions.
Now I'm curious.
The fires and the fireworks.
Was there pyrotechnics for "Live and Let Die"?
I don't think so.
I don't recall them either. I don't.
Probably not in an event or a theater that small.
Yeah.
Well, he did it inside.
We could watch the film.
We could watch the film and find out. Listen, he did it inside in '76 in an enclosed environment and lit fireworks off.
Yeah, but those are bigger stages too. You know what? Imagine the stage is probably
feet above his head.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Small theater probably. Worked.
Look, when you're at a regular concert, you can feel the heat from those things.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Andy, like Steve said, you will not believe how small this theater is. If you go to a lot of Broadway plays in New York, the theaters are so tiny.
Right.
They're really, some of them only hold 500-600 people.
I don't think the theater had been used in a number of years. I could be wrong at that.
Because that was before, you said, Steve, this is before Letterman took it back.
A year before he renovated it. And I don't think it had been used too much for anything.
I don't think it was either. I think that was the first concert played there since.
Right.
You know,
whenever Ed Sullivan went off the air, which was
1970,
69,
71, I think, 71.
And Paul, talking about Paul's stage presence, you know, having more comfort, you know, after the first song, I think it was after the first song where he says, "I'm having some deja vu. I think I've been here before."
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
But
I think he says that at the beginning, I think,
Yeah, but I mean, there's that whole thing too. You're going to the Ed Sullivan Theatre to see him play, where they were launched in this country. I mean, that alone is beyond historical. That you went to see him where the Beatles played in '64, and at that venue. I mean, with 300 other people. It's an experience that so few people have, that you guys have. You know, and closing. I mean, "Live and Let Die." People must have been just jamming out to end the.
It was so good, so much fun. It's hard to even, you know, every time I go see McCartney, I'm like, well, you know, I saw him at Sullivan Theatre.
Yeah, I mean, you guys get to brag about something that not too many people get to brag about.
So here's a little note on the show from 8 Arms, if you allow me to read it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
To set the off-the-ground promotional machine off and running, it was determined that since Paul's last MTV appearance had resulted in such a success, a similar effort should take place for the upcoming release. The result was Paul's first return to the theater, where he played his first notes on U.S. soil. MTV rented the old Ed Sullivan Theatre for this plugged special, which would premiere the week before the new album's release. The up close special for MTV was one of the last events that took place in the theater before it was renovated for David Letterman and his move to CBS in August of '93.
Okay.
Wow.
So there you go. Steve was right on point with that.
It's funny because the Mark, the cameraman, said to me, "You want to go see Neil Young now?" He goes, "Neil Young. Well, I'm going to do Neil Young show in the city." And I go, "Steve, you want to go see Neil Young?" And we're like, "Nah."
Really? And that would have been probably would have been the Unplugged show then, I would imagine. The MTV Unplugged, do you think?
Is that the only thing he did for MTV? Was that?
I believe so. Was the MTV Unplugged? Yeah.
Yeah. He, I don't know where that was filmed. It was in Manhattan, but
okay.
wow.
So,
I turned that down. I remember
right.
Wow.
So Live and Let Die is over. Does he, do his, all of his finger pointing and stuff like that? You were great. You were great. You were great.
Right. I don't recall him doing that.
Right.
You know what was really great? Linda McCartney. Linda McCartney was there.
Right.
Think about that for a minute. I mean,
oh, absolutely,
Linda.
Absolutely, yes.
Because Linda made it seem like we were back in '76, Wings Over America. Having Linda on stage with them was awesome.
Right. We were watching we were doing a show on the Bruce Mouse show, which was over the '72 tour, and watching her, just get more and more comfortable on stage and how theatrical she had becoming, really adds to the show,
I thought so.
Yeah.
Seeing her on stage was like,
watching Wings. It was like watching a little snippet of like going back into watching Wings in a way.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was feeling.
Right. And then Live and Let Die, and hearing that, it's like, whoa, same thing, same kind of feeling. Yeah.
So show is over. Tell us your guys'.
Well, we milled around for a little while to see if we could,
would he come out?
Going to come out, and nobody was throwing us out. Nobody was saying, "All right, filter out." People had left. There was just now a lot of people had come down to the flat area, like the standing area, which was pretty big. And I remember Sid Bernstein, the guy who had developed the entire Shea Stadium and had the whole idea, I think.
Yep.
And Sid, somebody said to Sid, "Okay, you can go backstage, go see Paul now." Right. He went back to see Paul. I remember him. That was the only person I remember. And like Steve said too, I didn't know any celebrities. I'm sure there was DJs there from the radio stations because they were legends back then. Radio DJs.
Sure. Ken Michaels can attest. I'm sure. He was in that scene, and Ken Michaels probably knew a lot of the other stations that were part of the promotion and giving tickets away for this show. So
yeah, you think about all those NEW guys, Vince Scelsa. Then there was Jim Kerr, who's still on the radio today, Tony Big, Pat St. John.
Oh, yeah.
Scotso.
Scotso.
Dennis Elsis. I'm sure they were all there.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys were like another, half hour, 45 minutes before you guys took off, or about hour, or what did you guys think?
I would say a half hour, Steve. We hung around.
That.
Okay.
Now, when did you actually, so the show's over, and I guess if the record comes out in February, were you aware when the documentary comes out and it's your show going, holy crap, that's the concert we were at? Were you aware of that?
No, we knew it was being taped for MTV, and we knew it was going to be aired soon. I mean, I'm not saying. Wait, I thought I had said my wife had taped it while we were there, but that's not the case. It wasn't live broadcast.
It wasn't live, right?
I definitely taped it. I have it on tape somewhere.
Okay.
But you actually remember when that was aired? Like, this is the show we were at. This is the show we were at.
Do you know when it premiered? Do you have that?
February. It would have been a few times before the album was released. I'll check.
Right. Just before the album released?
Well, the album came out in February of '93.
Just before the tour was getting started.
MTV released that.
Yeah, because the tour started in February 18th.
Did it?
Yeah.
They repeated that show at least a dozen times for the next 6 months. It was on quite frequently. Then they would have those Paul McCartney weekends.
Right, where they would show all those videos and stuff.
Yeah.
A new video would come out, and then it'd be a weekend, and then they'd show up close again.
Wow.
Didn't he do Giant Stadium that year,
He
Steve?
did. He did do Giant Stadium in. Oh, it was a short tour. The '93.
It was a couple dates. I think it was a couple dates after the Pontiac when I saw him, because I was kind of like blown away by how many people he
Yeah.
performed
So Tom,
for.
you saw him on June 4th, 1993,
Right.
and then he played Giant Stadium on June 11th
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
of later that year. But the up close thing.
Is that when he had the Pretenders open? Not the Pretenders. Oh, he never had anybody open.
No, he never had anybody open for him.
Yeah.
No.
No, that was the Pretenders open for the Stones. I saw.
Right.
So
Okay.
let's just
Wow.
take a look here. So, yeah, it was taped then, but I don't know when it was broadcast. Oh wait. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The up close broadcast. Okay, which is basically a hybrid of your show and the next night's show. I think it was both. They took a hybrid of both nights.
They Frankensteined it.
Right. That premiered February 3rd, 1993.
Okay. Yeah. So before the
I
tour
remember
started.
it being on shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the version that you can watch now, which we don't. Yeah, and actually it'll tell you. So right now you guys went on the 10th, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that they did Jingle Bells, and that's what the set was.
Yeah.
Right. So but the performance, the actual show that they give you. So you guys were there on the 10th. So 20 Flight Rock, Get Out of My Way, Fixing a Hole. Those are all from the 10th. That made it into the broadcast version. So there's 4 songs from the 11th: Looking for Changes, Biker, Michelle, and Hope of Deliverance, and Sgt. Pepper, which are from the 11th. So you get 4 songs from your show and 4 from the next night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that'll be a nice addition, I think, for the off the ground box. I guess.
There you go. Right. That would be awesome, right?
And Tom, you're gonna buy like 5 copies, right, Tom?
Absolutely.
Even though you hate it.
Well,
Yes.
they should re-release that, clean it up, and re-release it.
Oh, it will.
I mean,
Yeah.
He was
Absolutely.
awesome in it. He was
Yeah.
awesome.
No, we definitely believe within probably next 2-3 years, Off the Ground will get an archive box set for sure.
But they're not cleaning up these original concert videos, though. If you'll
Not
notice,
necessarily the concerts. I mean, the actual videos for the songs.
Yeah, those will be cleaned up. But I don't think.
Up.
Well, first of all, this is owned by MTV, so who knows if MTV still owns the rights to it? If he can include it, it would be nice to come out again all cleaned up.
And if it's an MPL production too, they might be able to easily get the rights for a release.
I want to see a nice 4K version of it, so I can see Vinny's bald head on it.
Yeah.
The shiny.
There I am. Bald head.
That's great. So talk about you guys are gone. You're out of the building now. You're heading home. I mean, what's the mood like on your way home? Are you guys all in shock and all, or on the way home? Are you
counting all your friends?
Good way to put it, Tom. Totally shock and all. And then I'm saying, how could I enjoy another show after this? Well, I did enjoy another 20 to 25 of them. So
right. Excellent. Wow.
Yeah, I was telling the story that when I had a connection for the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Wilpon, one of the owners,
former owners,
his secretary was friends with a friend of ours, and I got friendly with her. And whenever we needed tickets or something, we would just call her up, and she'd say, "Yeah, sure, here you go."
Oh wow!
So I said, Catherine, McCartney's playing at Citi Field. Is there any way I can get tickets? Sure, Vin. Here's the seating chart. I'm in charge of that. For people through the Mets who want tickets, just pick your seats, and I'll send you the tickets.
Wow.
And I'm like, and right on every seat was the price.
Wow.
So I bought a seat for me and my son, and I told Steve. Steve bought a seat.
Mm-hmm.
Our buddy Joe Garamella, Tom Panico. Tommy was at that show, Andy.
Wow.
$275. I'm in the 7th row at Citi Field.
Wow.
McCartney is right in front of me, and that's the show. He teared up during Here Today.
Wow.
And he got real emotional. And again, when they did Live and Let Die, I could feel the heat
Right.
in my skin. That's how close we were.
That's
there were
excellent.
celebrities all around us. Mick Jagger, Fred Wilpon was there. There was people. All celebrities were everywhere that night.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Was that the first Citi Field night? Or
That was the Saturday night, so I think it was the second night. I think he played Friday, Saturday, didn't he?
yeah, I think so.
So I saw him the second night.
Wow. Amazing.
And he was
The
unbelievable
third
last
night?
night.
Was it 2 or 3 nights for that?
I think he did 3 nights at Citi Field.
Yeah. So I saw him on the Saturday. What I enjoyed about that too, when they released that concert, Good Evening New York, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Mm.
You talk about Andy in the up close where they always cut in. He feels he's got to promote it with interviews and do all this side stuff. I like to just see the show.
Yeah, those are like one of my least favorite parts of the DVDs that he would release for the concert films was all those cut-ins to like backstage interviews. I don't care about that. I don't want to hear people kiss Paul's ass. I just want to watch the show.
Give me the show. Give me the show.
At least Good Evening New York did that. They just gave us, and the nice thing that with Up Close, you're not getting a different camera angle every 3 seconds.
Right.
You know, I thought it was well filmed.
Straight on, side, straight on, side.
Exactly.
Can I ask you guys, and I think I asked Andy and Steve this before, what was the one that the concert DVD he put out where they showed a lot of the fans in it?
Space Within.
Yeah.
So Space Within Us or Back in the World, or Back in the U.S., one of those two. There's a lot of fans in them.
He's talking about the Space Within.
Oh, okay.
I'm watching this downstairs by myself. And they're showing people like 4-year-old girls singing along, and like 80-year-old men and 60-year-old women, and tears are coming down their faces. My wife came downstairs. I can't watch it. I was bawling my eyes out. She goes, "What's the matter?" I go, the effect that this band and this man had on people. When I see other people affected that way, it affects me emotionally.
Right.
And I can't watch it without bawling my eyes out. I mean, literally, and I'm not really, well, Steve knows I'm an emotional person, but I'm like, oh my God, I can't watch this. Seeing a little girl, 4 years old, singing Beatles songs at a concert.
Isn't that cool? That's cool.
It's beyond cool.
Yeah.
There's not another human being on the planet that could happen to.
She either has really good parents or really cool grandparents.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh man, this is amazing. Thank you guys for sharing these stories. That's really
unbelievable. Unbelievable experience that you guys had, and thank you for sharing it with us. Really.
Thanks for having us. Great talk. Finally meeting. I've been listening to you for a long time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Actually, Steve,
I've seen a bunch of your podcasts.
Steve is actually the one who told me about you way back when.
No,
yes.
Well, Fred Michaels is the one who told me about you, Tom. I remember listening to his podcast, and he said, "There's this new podcast, Two Legs. Gotta listen to it." So,
Tom, how old are you? Where are you from?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and I'm 47.
47. Now,
and by the way, Tom, thanks a lot. I listened to your Talk More Talk a week or two ago with Dave Morrell. It's really nice coming on after his stories.
Oh man, I was just geeking out. Some of those stories were just amazing. It's like, perfect. I mean, this guy was like always in the right spot at the right time. When it came to John Lennon, unbelievable.
I couldn't believe those stories.
Yeah, I tried to get him on, but then his press secretary said that after that interview we did with him, he wasn't going to do anymore. So I said, all right, well, whatever. At least I got to talk to him once. Right. So but excellent. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinnie. Thank you, Steve. Thank you guys
for your continued success, gentlemen.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us on. It was a lot of fun. I love reminiscing about it.
Yeah,
it was a special night.
My favorite one of your shows so far was the McCartney years. Actually, I thought.
Oh, cool!
That one you guys gave me a lot of information I never heard before.
Yeah, that episode did fairly well.
Thanks, and Steve, if Vinnie, you're not aware, like every Wednesday, about once a week now, Tom and I are going to be live on YouTube, where we rank our favorite tracks on every McCartney album. So like tomorrow night, we've done the first 2 McCartney albums. We did McCartney, we did Ram, and it's on YouTube Live. So like all of our other shows are pre-recorded and we post them. But now Tom and I kind of came up with this idea a few weeks ago. Let's rank every McCartney album.
The tracks on the album.
Tracks from our least favorite to our favorite. So we started doing that. Now we're up to Wildlife, which we're going to do tomorrow night at 7:00. And every once a week we're gonna rank the songs in every McCartney album live on YouTube. Which
now when you guys say, like, let's just say you say Bip Bop is the worst one on this particular album.
It won't. Bip Bop won't be my worst favorite.
Right. But you get people to write you and get mad about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bip Bop is not going to be your least favorite song tomorrow?
No.
Come on.
That's the first song that came to my head.
Because you're right, Steve. It is the worst song.
Actually, I think Mumbo is a little worse than Bip Bop.
Oh, God.
Not the live version. That live version's pretty
good.
They
did. No, I actually like Bip Bop live. I think they did it pretty well.
And Mumbo.
Is it better than Seymour?
Is it better than Seymour?
No, Vinny, it's not. It's not.
So this episode will be posted on Saturday the 12th.
Yes, and not this Saturday, but the Saturday the 12th, and I'll give you guys all the links and everything like that. But
awesome.
We will get it out there. So thanks again, guys.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
My Christmas tree.
Oh, it's a beauty.
It's real.
Buona Natale, Vin.
Yeah.
We're
gonna. My wife and I were gonna eat, and we're probably gonna put the lights on our tree after dinner.
So. After dinner, it's 8:30 here.
Oh, it's only 6:30 here.
Not in Arizona. Not in Arizona, buddy.
Right.
So
you guys are awesome. I'm really happy I got to meet you guys, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Talk again soon.
All right.
Absolutely. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. And we're back. We want to thank Vinnie and Steve for their contributions to the Up Close show there in December of 1992. They had some really great stories. Andy, thank you for reaching out to them, having them on for that segment. That was a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, we've got another guy here with us who is all about fun. And he is my Talk More Talk co-host. He is the host of a wonderful channel called Me, Mr. Mayo on YouTube. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. He just passed 10,000 subscribers, and he's got a 10,000 subscribers contest going on right now. He is Joe Mayo, or better known as Me, Mr. Mayo. Joe, how you doing, my friend? And welcome back.
Hello, Tom. Doing well.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, Andy. Good to see you.
You too, man.
Yeah. So thank you for coming back. We talked about this. We had Andy came up with this idea about talking about the Up Close show, which was pretty much the warm up to the '93 World Tour. And we're finding all of a sudden all these people that were at this show. We can only get 100 people in the building, and all of a sudden we know
Ken Michaels, Ken Michaels, you and my two buddies. It's all the same show.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be on with your two pals, but it's that the timing didn't work.
That's all right. Well, we're making it work now.
We're making it work, and I'm sure you'll have some great things to tell us about that night, as well as they did too.
So let's just jump right in and talk about how was something you heard on the radio? Was there something you had to do in order to attend this show? So let's start with that.
In 1992. They were having, I don't know if it was a whole week of Paul on the radio or the weekend. Can't remember that, but it was one of those situations where you had to be the 25th caller. You call up on the phone, and they were going to, select you as the 25th caller. You'd win the tickets to see Paul up close at the Ed Sullivan Theatre, which was going to be the David Letterman Theatre.
Right.
And I never had luck. I never win contests.
So you're growing up with radio. You've probably tried to win concerts or contests on radio before.
Yes, I mean not all the time, but I've tried with Paul tickets. For example, since then I've tried even in I've never been able to get through. So what happened was. They would do this every now and then, different times of the day. And for whatever reason, I was up at 2 a.m. and they did it again, where they were going to take the 25th caller. And I called up, and I got that amazing sound of a ring. It just kept ringing, and ringing, and I'm like, could this be? Usually, busy signal, they usually say, call back again, or so on. This time it's ringing now, and I hear the guys that are doing the contest discussing as the phone's ringing. I'm listening in my ear. They're saying, a lot of numbers are lit up here, but out of all these numbers that are blinking, and meanwhile I'm getting a mental image of these lights on the switchboard going like that, saying, why don't we just change the rules a little bit and just pick any old one? It's like,
oh wow,
pick one at random. And I'm like hearing the, ring, ring, and I'm saying, please don't stop ringing, I said, you mean out of all these people? One of the guys says, out of all of these people, only one person can win? And he said, that's right. He says, okay, let's go. And my eyes closed like this. And all of a sudden, you get that feeling when it's like you're plugged in, like it's not, you're on the phone with somebody, And I couldn't believe it. So there it was. I was going to win. And that was only the beginning of my excitement, because I didn't realize how good it was going to be until I got there, what situation I would find myself in.
Well, talk about you said hello, and you just said, hey, so you were literally on the radio.
Yeah, I think I said, oh, you guys are great. I think I said, yeah, something goes, no, you're great, Joe, you're great. It's nonsense like that. I don't remember anything else. It's funny, I remember that. But, you just give your information. And I do recall that I had to get down to New York City, like I think the next day, something, if I remember serves, to pick up the tickets myself.
Okay.
And that was a big thing. But hey, look, it was called Up Close, the show, and it meant you were going to be kind of up close to Paul, going to be more intimate. It's not unplugged. Even Paul himself made that mistake.
Right.
He started saying in the show, he said, this is a show called Unplugged. No, it's not called Unplugged. It's called Up Close. And so I knew it was going to be good seats. That much I knew.
Mm-hmm. So was this so the next day you went to go get tickets? Was this an easy thing? I mean, was it difficult for you?
Nah, had a lot of public transportation to get into New York City. Had to skip work. But hey, you know what? Small price to pay. I love these people. I wonder if there's people out there today. Did you go see the Beatles at Chase Stadium? Well, I was going to go see the Beatles at Chase Stadium, but I had to work, so I didn't go. Well, get your priorities straight.
Right. So do you recall how close this was to the actual show?
No, I really don't recall that, but I know it was quick that I had to get the tickets. I'm thinking, I don't remember for sure, but I'm thinking just because I had to get down there pretty quickly, I'm thinking that maybe there was no time for them to actually mail them.
Right.
So
was this the radio station?
2 tickets
or 1? 2 tickets.
Oh.
Yeah, 2. And I went with my back then in 1992, my soon-to-be fiance. That month later that month.
So yet proposed.
I was going to propose on Christmas Eve. I proposed, and that's another story. But
Well, let's dig into that a little bit more. No,
come on.
Anyways, so you get the tickets. Now you have the 2, and you must be just over the moon right now, right? Because
Joe, you'd seen McCartney before? Yes or no?
Oh, I saw him in '89, 2 shows at Madison Square Garden.
Cool.
And I'm trying to remember, pretty good with the dates. And then I think this was the next time after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
No, I saw him in '90 also. I'm sorry, I saw him in '90 on that tour.
Okay.
Also at Giant Stadium.
So 3 times for the Flowers in the Dirt tour, then.
And it might have been 4 because I saw it twice at the Garden. I think twice at Giant Stadium. So 4 times.
Great.
Yeah, and our guys, Steve and Vinnie, they saw Paul same times, 4 or 5 times on the Flower Show, just like you did. Multiple nights at the Garden, which you guys all did, which was, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, it's the night of. Talk about, were you off work? Did you take the day off? Just
Well,
talk about that
I don't.
day leading up.
I can't remember all those details, but I was excited, and I don't remember anything but the night itself, the actual night of the show. I don't remember that day, what happened, but I remember being out there and talking to fans that were on the line, and there was a girl that had met George Harrison and showed pictures of having met George and everything.
Gotcha.
And it's always good when you're in a situation like that where there are other like-minded fans.
Right.
Right. You can talk to them.
Did you know that this was going to be? Did you know he had a new album coming out at the time, and that you probably would hear new music?
I'm trying to recall if I knew. I think I had heard that there's going to be. He was working on probably because that wasn't the internet right then, so it wasn't like it is now. Everything's just at your fingertips, and you always know everything.
Exactly.
But of course, as we know, he did Spotlight, soon to be released, off the ground.
Right. So I would imagine it's, exactly. It's like if you had Club Sandwich, you would probably know for sure.
Yeah, which for some reason I never subscribed to that. I never got it. Never got any.
Gotcha. All right. So you're in line with your soon-to-be fiance. Was she a McCartney fan at all?
She likes the Beatles, likes the Beatles, and Paul, but she's not a fanatic or anything.
All right.
But I think she was excited about this, event.
Right.
And it was great to be able to go with her at the time. Of course, Tom, had I known you then, or maybe Andy, I might have said these are the diehards that have to go, But
oh, Joe.
Oh, Joe, you two.
You two guys would have to flip a coin over, and then
I'd win.
No, we have to do gladiator style or something,
No, I win. I win on geography, babe. So you're beat.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Well, you could do the old honeymooners. Heads I win, tails you lose.
I love it.
So.
All right. So, how was it outside while waiting?
Oh my! Every little detail. It was the temperature was okay. I'm kind of like hesitant to say. I had a little feeling of Beatlemania because I did
Ed Sullivan show.
It was Ed Sullivan, but moreover, the reason I'm hesitant to say is because I did run after the limo at one point. I tried to get an autograph. I didn't realize a lot of things then. I didn't realize that Paul doesn't like you following him.
Right.
Doesn't like to be chased.
Right.
I'm like, once in your life, you got to be able to say I did it. So I did do that. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but hey, look, I'm a Beatles fanatic. So, and didn't work out. And also, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was wearing a black leather jacket. Leather. So
there's the man in the long leather coat, man.
That's all it is. It's just skin. We're wearing skin.
All right, they're bringing you guys in. Talk about getting in there and where were you guys standing? By the stage and all that.
We know our friends were like really up close. Steve and Vinnie were right, and then but then they got told they had to get moved. They had to move because they were in the cameraman's way. So
Steve had to move.
Steve had to move because he's like 6'3", and he was right in the front. And the cameraman told him he needed to go to the side. So he got moved. But I'm not sure. You said you could see yourself on the video. Still,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. What I should have said was when I got the tickets, which was an important detail, in Magic Marker, and I have the tickets here somewhere in this room.
Right.
And I spent like 10 minutes before this, instead of spending a week, spent 10 minutes. I couldn't find it in 10 minutes. But somebody had written the word floor on it, FLOOR, on the back of the ticket. So I said, well, whatever seat I get, it's going to be a very good seat because it's going to be a floor seat. It's not going to be up in the balcony. That's good.
Right.
And what floor I found out, here's the happy part. What it meant was that I was going to be standing in the section before. There are no seats, between the stage and I don't know if there was if there were seats at all. I don't know now. Look at the back. Must have been. But anyway, that meant that we were in the group that were going to be chosen to go up in the front.
Oh, great. Oh.
And I didn't know that till I got there. So that you know, I can imagine how thrilled I was. And then there were people there that were talking about camera arrangements and things. And somebody said,
"Yeah, isn't that what Steve said?"
Oh yeah. So really?
Yeah.
And
because he could only be filmed like a certain angle, you know, Paul.
Well,
so.
Because most of the show was filmed, I don't know how to describe it, but from the back, looking at Paul on the stage and the band on the stage.
Wide shot.
And a few shots from behind where you'd see the back, and then you could see the people's faces a little bit. But they were doing their little discussion about what they wanted to set up before the show, and they said, no, put the people in the front that have dark clothes on. And it just so happened I was wearing, like I say, I was wearing a black jacket. My hair was longer then, you know, and it was, I mean, I have dark hair, and my girlfriend at the time was wearing black. So they took us, and they just like escorted us over here. So I'm like, this is crazy. Next thing I know, I'm up to the stage. Well, you know, I'm 5'6", so I'm not very tall. And the thing is that whenever I watch this show, and there's a version going around, a Raw version, which is the night I went, December the 10th. It was my best friend Mike's birthday. He's been gone 10 years now, passed away, but that's how I always remember that date. So, you know, there we are all of a sudden, and we're kind of like really close up there. I'm thinking, this is amazing. December the 10th, what the date is like really poignant because of my friend Mike and everything. And here I am, and whenever I watch the show, though, I'm thinking, luckily the Raw version that went around was of that day, because there's no Raw version that I'm aware of the following night. We did it 2 nights, the show, the 10th and the 11th. And the one that was broadcast on MTV Up Close, you know, was a hybrid where you had some taken from my show at the 10th that I was at and some from the 11th. And they put the best moments.
Two of them together, yeah.
You know, like that. And I could always tell by the way the people are stage, you know. Right. Anyway, even though I'm 5'6", it's hard to see me, but I did a video, and I was going to change the name, so if you might want to look it up on YouTube, it says something like, when I got up close, the day I got up close to Paul McCartney, or words to that effect. You do a search. And what I do is I show the video very, very crudely on the screen, and I freeze here, and I say, there I am, that's my head, you know, stuff like that. And there are some shots, like I say, from turned around where you see the back of Paul. And during Sgt. Pepper's one of them. You see it during 20 Flight Rock, and you could see my grinning face with the mustache, you know, on there. You can recognize me. So I'm able to point that out. But my point being that when you watch it, nobody could, you wouldn't say, there's Mr. Mayo, you know. But I could say, that's me, you know.
That's you.
Because there were other guys like that weren't wearing black. There's one guy like kind of near me that's wearing a white or gray kind of shirt. He's just leaning like on me a little bit and stuff like that. He's a taller guy. Everybody's kind of cramped up there. And I was closer to Robbie McIntosh, really. I mean, it was kind of like Paul's in the center. You know, I'm over to the left side more.
He could have been next to Steve because Steve had to go towards Robbie as well.
Correct.
You know, and that's another thing. I don't really know if I see I haven't seen your friends. I don't know. When I clutch the playback, I'll see them.
Right.
But I just remember that I was about, I don't know, Paul's on a slight angle. Mm-hmm. You know, and I would say at times I could see the fillings in his teeth on the top when he would sing like that. So that was pretty thrilling. Filling.
Cool. Cool. So how long are you waiting? Do you recall how long you were there before he started playing?
No, I don't recall that. I wish I could give you a more
okay.
Juicy answer, but I don't remember.
What were your initial reactions to the Off the Ground material, hearing it for the first time?
I remember that I liked Hope of Deliverance a lot. right away. First time hearing it, the album hadn't come out. He was, debuting everything. And I remember, trying to get Paul's attention. There's one guy, I don't know if it was one of your friends, saying, "Can I have your pick?" He's asking for a pick, "Where's your pick, Paul?" Paul started commenting on that too. Everybody wants a pick, pick, Paul, where's your pick? Like that. Everywhere you go, it's all they want is my pick and stuff like that. But anyway, and I remember trying to get his attention. What are you going to do? So I'm saying, Paul, I'll go at one point I go number one after it was over. At number one, which I really thought it was going to be. It could have been a number one. I just seem to remember Paul going like that. Kind of like, I hope at one point like that, be modest about it.
It wasn't number one in some country in Europe. I always forget, but it was a number one like in Switzerland or one of them countries.
Yes, yeah, so, I did like that song, and I liked really pretty much everything that I heard. When he did "Get Out of My Way," people didn't realize, they thought the song had ended. It's that trick ending where they think it's everybody else applauding, and then it comes back, and then when it continues and it's officially over, and he's like something like, "That's it." Yeah. Oh yeah,
right.
And Big Boys Bickering.
Yeah.
I liked that right away.
Now, I seem to remember reading about that he kind of announced that as going to be on the new album. Do you recall that?
Again, I could almost swear to that. And the thing is, it's easily on the footage, which I was going to prep by watching that again. I've seen that many times, and I could swear he says another one for the new album. From the new album, I could swear he says. And I know he says protest song. He announced as a protest song, and we know that he drops the F-bomb in there.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
At the time, I thought being a John fan, I thought, oh, good, John would approve that he get a little more risque and everything.
Edgy.
It was pretty. Well, I wouldn't want every song to be like that, but I liked that he did that. I was surprised, but I think we can all say, I think we've talked in the past. After a while with that song, as much as I enjoyed it, it gets a little bit much when he keeps singing that chorus over and over again,
Right.
Bleeping it up for everyone.
Yeah. The classic Hey Jude ending, on and on and on.
Yeah, but it wound up not being on the album, as we know, in the end. But I could swear, all I had to do was play the show back. But anybody out there can do it and confirm. I'm pretty sure he said it. You could see it in the raw footage that he's.
Right.
That. And that wasn't. I don't think it wasn't included on the broadcast version. That song.
No.
Yeah,
of course not. That wasn't going to be on MTV with the F-bombs.
Yeah.
Now maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a couple Beatle tracks that I was very happy with when I ended up seeing them in June of '93. I think it was. Starting with "Fixing a Hole," complete shocker.
Yes. And that's what really blows me away. I mean, I'm not, anybody who knows me, and Tom, you know me pretty good by now, I'm not one of those people that say, give me the Beatles,
right.
Because I would be happy if he just did a Back to the Egg show, these days.
Right.
I would like to see him do all solo, no Beatles, no Beatle free, but it always was a thrill whenever he would do a song by the Beatles that he'd never done before. Right. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I'd ever heard him doing "Fixing a Hole" or "Penny Lane" before this this event.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And I was like, oh man! And I just there's a moment in there, and where when they're singing at the moment in the song where they're singing about fish and finger pie, that line where there's a shot, panning on the crowd in the back of my girlfriend's like patting on my back to the music at that line, and it just it's a great moment, to be that close to Paul, and he's doing Penny Lane.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying something. See if you remember it. Then he kind of paused. See if I can remember. He was laughing, but that was kind of. I think that was off mic.
Yeah, and Michelle was another one. I don't think he did.
Right. That was a new time where he introduced that to his set. I'm looking at my list here too. Actually, Michelle, And of course, Can't Buy Me Love, but that was a country kind of version of it that he kind of did. It was a different arrangement of it, which was interesting.
Yeah, Vinnie and Steve said the same thing. There was just it wasn't the Beatles Can't Buy Me.
Right, different arrangement.
No. But I'm looking at back to talking about some of the Off the Ground songs. I mean, I did enjoy the title track Off the Ground. I thought that was a good. I still like that song. I think it's
so do I. Yeah.
And as far as the news, Biker Like an Icon, I did a show with you guys here on Two Legs where we discussed that album, and I always defend the song.
Yes,
I'm never going to say Biker Like an Icon is a great song or anything. I think people just.
Hey, but if you like it, you like it. I mean, there's no reason why you need to, go on and on why you like it. I mean, if you like it, you like it. I mean,
no, just odd because I think the title is so off-putting, and it's like awkward.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta understand what it's about, I guess.
Right.
And peace in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the two that I was kind of upset with that he didn't do live when I got to see him. I mean, he by that time he had taken out Get Out of My Way and I Owe It All to You, out of the set list by the time.
And Another Day too. He didn't keep in there long.
Right.
Either.
So,
but I Owe It All to You. I liked just about everything I heard. I liked Looking for Changes. I liked when I first heard it. I thought I had the feeling this might be a pretty good album. This might be a well-received album.
Right.
But it didn't do that well for Paul.
No. Unfortunately, it didn't do well for Paul, or for Paul's standards. That is. No. But again, though, when you hear those songs live, as opposed to the regular album, they do have a more energetic feel to them, especially, the songs like Get Out of My Way and even, Big Boys Bickering and,
different in the live environment,
Off the Ground,
live context, songs that might sound mundane on a record, live sound, that something.
Well, I enjoyed them, but as some of you may know, listening to me, I'm not the biggest live person in the world, meaning I like seeing the artist, being there with the artist, performing it. But listening to it, I'd rather hear Letting Go on the album. I know everybody says, no, The Wings Over America is the better version of Letting Go, and just to name one. But no, I'm more of a fan of the studio. There may be rare exceptions. I think Sing the Changes is an exception where I like the live performance of that.
Right. They sound like you're channeling John there a little bit. John never liked the live stuff either. I just like the real record. That's all you say. I don't need to see them live. I want the record. That's all I care about is the record.
Yeah, people are always. I love when people say to me, when I watch a show, I want the performance to sound like the record. You say, well, you could why don't you stay home and listen to the record? I say, well, because I'm breathing the same air as this person, and I'm in the arena, and there's an energy of the crowd, and he's there in front of my eyes doing it. So it's a little different than just hearing the record.
Right. And then, My Love was a highlight for me as well. So,
Yeah, I got to hear him do My Love, which I like that song. And Live and Let Die.
The only two Wings songs, really, that were represented in that set.
Sea Moon.
Oh,
Sea Moon.
Yeah, we had Sea Moon too. We forgot about Sea Moon.
Yeah, Sea Moon. Yeah, so I get to see him. But these days when I watch it, I didn't think of it so much at the time, but when I watch it back, it is very off the ground heavy.
Oh, extremely. Yeah, half the records there. You've got 9 tracks from Off the Ground, really. So
9. As many people. 9. Wow.
Well, 8 if you want to call Big Boys Bickering a B-side. So, but still 8 tracks. Is a lot of songs to do.
And what? In a 20-song set list? Probably?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to forget Come On People. I don't want to forget, Hey Jude for the 90s.
Right, for the 90s.
Yeah.
As I call it.
Did it on SNL too.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So how was the crowd? Do you recall?
Well,
Did you? I mean, did you
no,
take
I
it all
don't because they were behind me, so I was not.
Well, you didn't turn around or anything.
No,
Or?
they did. No,
Hell no. Why would he turn around?
I want to see the whole thing. You know, I'm.
Take
No,
my
no, no,
eyes
no,
off
no,
that.
no. With our idol right in front of us, I don't care. I won't care what's going on behind me. I'm watching.
That was amazing. And I know there's one point you can only see it in the raw tape going around. You know, they'd stop for makeup once in a while. You know, a girl come out, put a little makeup on Paul.
Yeah.
During those periods where it's
Right.
quiet, I had an 8x10 with me,
Mhm.
and during those periods, if you ever see the raw footage, you'll see this guy with a black leather sleeve, you know, holding up a picture, you know, thinking that maybe Paul would take a moment off camera to sign it or something, but it didn't work out.
Right. Did you try to bring a camera with you?
No, boy, I wish I had my YouTube channel at the time. You know, all these things that happened, and you didn't have YouTube back then, or you didn't have these. Not everybody had their smartphones.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
These days would be a different story, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly would.
Yeah. Talk about the live and let die. I mean, was it a pretty? I mean, did he do that in the 89-90 tour?
Yes.
I believe he did.
Yeah, that's always a biggie.
So this was kind of more of a scaled back version, though, I would imagine, because you're not going to get pyro in that in the Ed Sullivan show.
Wow, I can't even remember if it had the pyro.
Or I mean, not the Ed Sullivan, but the Ed Sullivan Theatre.
Ed Sullivan Theatre.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just thrilling again to be that in that intimate of a setting. You know, you don't get that opportunity. You get spoiled to the point where, at least I have. It doesn't matter when I see him now at a stadium or something. I don't care if I have nosebleeds. I mean, I'd rather not, but I'm not. I said, look, I saw him up close, like the show said, right? And I've seen a couple of performers like that on the stage. You know, I'm a fan of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and when I saw Joan Jett many times, and she used to love people to come right up to the stage, and a lot of people didn't know that. So you used to buy a seat and go up. And you get your spot. Right, you got my spot. And you're going like this. You're leaning on the stage. And when you do that, and you can feel the rumble of the stage and the energy, the thunder. I don't care if you have a first row front seat, you know, and away in like Shea Stadium or something. Shea Stadium's not there anymore. City Field.
Right.
Yankee Stadium. It's not quite the same thing as being an intimate setting like that, up close like that.
Wow.
It's spoiled for life.
Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime thing, and unfortunately, some of us have been fortunate to attend shows in an intimate setting like that. You know.
Yeah, I'm glad you said once in a lifetime thing, because for me as a fan for all my life, that's probably my crowning achievement as far as getting to see the Beatles together or one of the Beatles. You know, and the fact that it was Paul was even more exciting. And being up close to him like that, never forget it, obviously.
Now, have you seen him since then a couple times, or?
Oh yeah, well I've seen him 10 times plus the sound check, so 11 times. But yeah, I saw him. This was 92, so I saw him in 93.
Right.
So
and I'm trying to forget. I missed some of the shows though. I don't know why. I remember could it be after 93? I didn't see him again until
2002.
2002, we came
I
back.
skipped that.
Yeah.
I skipped that.
Okay.
And 2005.
2005 is when I definitely saw 2005.
Right.
That's when I went with my friend Anthony, so we went there.
Because he was pretty much, ever since then, he's pretty much stopping in the greater New York area, whether it was New York or Jersey or in that area. So there wasn't really, you all had the opportunity a lot. I'm being in Arizona for the last 10 years. He was here the year before I moved here, but then I got to see him twice. So it's not like he was stopping in Arizona all the time.
No.
Whereas he's in New York, he's
the metropolitan area. He's going to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
What year did you move to Arizona?
2010.
So 2009, he played out there.
Yeah.
And Citi Field. I didn't go to Citi Field. I don't remember the circumstances.
2009, he did 3 nights there.
Yeah, and I'm a Mets fan, and I don't like the Yankees.
Me too.
And I vowed I'd never go into that that cesspool, Yankee Stadium, but
He
I was
was
there.
Yankee
Paul.
Stadium 2011. That was a great show too. He opened up.
Yeah, I went there with my nephew. Saw him with me for the first time.
Played the night before for the first time ever.
Yes, that was really a treat. You know, to get to see something different. You know, and was that the actual first show that he did the night before? I think he said. I know he does the same songs on the whole tour, but I think he said this first time doing this song, but he might have meant just in the tour.
I think in the tour. I think the tour was a few nights old by that point. I think he did 2 nights at Yankee Stadium, but Yankee Stadium was the opening of that tour. I think so. You know, it might have been the second night of Hearing the night before, but I was at that show with my uncle too, so that was pretty wild.
Yeah. So how was McCartney and voice that night?
Oh, excellent! Yeah, excellent. Sounded great.
Because I know there were some few parts in the I think it was the '89-'90 tour where people said he didn't really sound.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean I liked him in '89 and '90, but I remember thinking you read things, you hear things over the years say that maybe he had a cold or something. He wasn't doing so well when he did the Guard in '89. Don't know for sure.
Right.
But he hadn't really been playing for such, live.
That's true. Right.
That's another thing, So, but he sounded great, I thought, on the up close show.
Cool. Very cool. So show ends, you guys take your time getting out of there. You just taking it all in.
Yeah, the show ends, and then Paul says to me, "What you want to go have something to eat?" And I said, "Oh, you paying?" Said, no, you are. And I said, well, then I don't want to forget it. No, I'm just kidding, of course. No, I don't. Just to be, don't remember too many particulars after that. I did make probably more efforts to try. I did that a few times, trying to get an autograph. Why not? I mean, you're a fan your whole life. It's something I'd like to. I did get Paul's autograph eventually. That's another story.
Right.
In '93. But why not? So I probably went after the limo another time or something for a little. Just what happens is limousine will go to the red light and stop. And you hope that if you go up there, sometimes, celebrities have been known to, if there's not a large crowd, and you just get them one-on-one at the light or something, they might sign for one person. But not this time.
Not this time. Darn it. Oh man! So, what'd your girlfriend think of the show?
Oh yeah, she really liked it. She had a good time, and we talked about it to people for a while after that. She had a great time, and she came numerous times to see Paul with me. She was at '93 Giant Stadium and stuff. Yeah, she enjoyed it.
Very good, great. I mean, anything else special from that night, or do you want to bring up?
No.
No,
there's nothing. There's no tidbits or anything that I recall about it. But what can I say? Just like crowning achievement.
Yeah, great. That's
Beatles
excellent.
Fan.
Right.
Beatles
well,
fan.
if you do find that those tickets, send us a picture and we'll
yes,
we'll put it on the Facebook page, obviously, Twitter, and then and all that good stuff.
I have a clear folder thing with a lot of tickets that I was looking through not too long ago, months ago. Mm-hmm. And it's somewhere on those shelves laying flat.
Right.
Not standing up. But I don't know exactly where.
Gotcha. Great. Well, Joe, this was awesome. Thank you for letting us or telling us your memories of that show, and talk about the channel for a few minutes, and tell everybody where they can find it if they haven't already.
Yeah, it's YouTube, and it's me, Mr. Mayo channel. Mustard to Mayo, the deal. Changing it over a little bit, and I do all kinds of things there. Beatles, solo Beatles. I do rant videos. Some people like the rants. Some people say, don't do that, because a lot of things that get under my skin. And a lot of times I like to rant. And I think it's funny when you can kind of commiserate with somebody about something like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, the lost phone one was pretty relatable for me.
Oh yeah, losing your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's more coming, but
I like the ones. I like the ones in the car on Sundays. I dig those. I like those a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, and then you literally just you have Ken Dashow on for Breakfast to the Beatles. You're like, I can only leave this on for a few seconds before it gets played.
Yeah, I can't do that because of the copyright stuff.
I know.
Copyright.
Yeah, that's always a good one, though.
But trying to get more, Beatles. It is Beatles centric. My channel. It's it's mostly Beatles and records and memorabilia and showing some rare stuff and going hunting for stuff.
Right. So, and then you have a contest going since you've passed the 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, 10,000 subscriber contest. There's still time. You have to, if you go to my channel, you have to look at the newest video that's on there, whatever it is, and go back a ways, 7-8 videos or so. It's a kind of an older video now, and it'll tell you how you can go about entering and you can win something. But it's going to be ending on December the 10th, so I don't know. I don't have very long to go.
Gotcha. So, and podcasters have a chance to win that as well if they want to enter certain podcasters.
I know that Tom, you have entered.
Right.
And basically, all you have to do, we got to follow the exact instructions on there. You have to just very easy, just whatever Beatles song I got in my head. I had it in my head, and I still do. So that one song I'm thinking of, you just have to match it, but you get to pick 5 songs. I guess that's not really that fair, is it? What do they do? 200 and something songs?
220, officially 232 or something like that.
So
when I did my picks, when I did my picks, I was like an hour later. I'm going, you know what? There's a song. Well, I'll tell you later after we're done recording this, but that I wanted after thinking about it. Man, I should have put that song down. But
and there's no tricks. I made sure I was clear in the video. It's not like a trick. It's not. It's a. It's not like it's Maggie May or it's
right.
You know my name or
short songs.
Dig it.
It's nothing like that. It's a regular
song
that features on one of their albums.
Yeah, and obviously Joe is a part of my other show, Talk More Talk, which I'm very, very fortunate that he agreed to be a part of. Which we all enjoy your company there as well. And it was really a bummer when the computer or the audio of the computer went down for the extra texture episode because was really hoping to. Yeah, there you go. There's the old release right there.
I really wanted to lace into this.
Right.
But I do like a few songs. I like 3 songs on here, quite a bit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I thank you for asking me to be on the show. I mean, it was very nice of you to do that, and I'm having a wonderful time.
Right. Cool. Great. Well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And Andy, anything you want to add before we sign off here?
Well, thanks, Joe, for popping on again, and thanks for supporting us in our little YouTube venture, and
awesome.
Giving us a little exposure. We appreciate that.
And also, I'm looking forward to the next ranking that you guys are going to be doing. That's a great series.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's proving, some of them are proving to be a little harder than others.
Yeah,
sure. Especially the top half of the albums, that you find, the Band on the Run one is going to be pretty interesting, because I do factor in fatigue as well, and we always tell people that, our thoughts on this could change the next day, after we.
So what you're trying to say is Mamounia is going to be number 1 for you.
No, not that.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything regarding that.
But you know what? But it is also, in a way, I also like doing this in a way too, because the songs that I don't like, I can go back and listen to them and just reconfirm that I still don't like them.
Well, it's difficult. I do the same. I mean, on my channel, I do rankings. Ranking Beatles songs, ranking solo Beatles, and that really is a thorn in the side that gets in there because, you separate. Do you say, well, I'm fatigued on this song. It's overplayed. I'm a little tired of it. It's great, but I've heard it a little bit too much right now. Or do you say, no, I have to try to remember what I felt about it when I first heard it, or what I think in general of it, regardless of the fatigue syndrome. It's hard to separate that sometimes. I think.
No, I hear you. Well, great. This has been great. Joe, I'm sure we'll be in touch, and we'll have more conversations with you in the future. Absolutely. Wings, there you go, baby. So for Two Legs, you can, check us out on our website with twolegspodcast.com. You can email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. Please check that out and please subscribe if you like what you see. That's where you're going to see all of our ranking the tracks videos. For now, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll put them to our audio versions, but right now we're just sticking to the YouTube for that. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Two Legs Podcast. When this is posted, we will be less than a week away from McCartney 3, and hopefully he'll keep those vinyl color
Tom's freaking 28 freaking copies, freaking psychopath that he is.
And I ordered 2 colored vinyl, and I was able to stop at 2.
Yeah, you're lucky. Good for you, buddy. Yeah. But anyways, as always, everybody out there, have a beautiful day. And
beautiful night.
I screwed that up for the first time ever. Have a great day and a beautiful night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan C.